Folks, I want to ask you a very serious question, and I want you to answer this honestly. How incredible would it be to get silver shipped straight to your front doorstep for free, but all you had to do is click one button? Would you believe me? Because that is true. All you have to do is click one button, and that button is subscribe, and you will be entered in my silver giveaway. I am not a stingy guy. My giveaways are massive. So all you have to do is click one button, which is subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss the entry video, and like always, may the luckiest stacker win. Now, this article came fresh off the press. This was posted today. I'm always going to give you the newest, latest information. When I say subscribe, it's not for my sake, it's for your own. And if you're trying to find a safe, reliable, trusted source that has a massive inventory and great prices, then look no further. You could email slayer@milesfranklin.com or call 330-485-6172. I heard that, man. Silver Slayer is not a stingy guy. He gives incredible prices and he will take care of you. With that said, let's talk silver. And as always, folks, I truly do appreciate you listening through all of those announcements. Now, this article is a little frustrating, and you're about to see why, and I would love for you to share your thoughts on this. Check this out. Morning silver slams equals obvious market manipulation. If it's not manipulation, then why are all these sharp moves almost always to the downside and occur from 8:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard? Now, this is where things get a little heated. This post is dedicated to Bob Coleman, Stephen St. Angelo, and Jeff Christensen. This trio denies that bankers manipulate silver, that massive derivative trading exists, and that the paper to silver ratio is not a thing, which that statement itself is absurd to so many degrees. They are gaslighting us with these asinine and absurd remarks. It's funny that Bob C. and Stephen St. Angelo have been attacking silver stacking apes. Our allies' plausible explanation is that maybe they are paid shills for the opposite of silver, which are the fiat overlords. Moreover, I have been asked to ask the obvious question: does Bob's fund profit from shorting silver? Short selling, hidden costs, precious minerals wasted on warfare. In the shadowy world of commodity trading, a crisis is brewing that threatens to deplete one of our most vital resources, which is silver. While traders and bankers play paper games with silver futures and derivatives, the real-world consequences are becoming increasingly dire. For 4 consecutive years, silver has been in a structural deficit with demand outstripping supply. Yet, paradoxically, prices remain artificially suppressed due to excessive short selling and manipulation in the futures markets, aka COMEX, which is exactly what they are saying isn't happening when they say up here that, where is it at? They say the paper to silver ratio is not a thing. That is exactly how they do it. They flood the market with these paper silvers or contracts saying that there's an equal 1-to-1 ratio. So if all those people on the COMEX tried to turn their silver into physical, it would expose the corruption. And that is actually similar to what the Hunt brothers did in 1980. These billionaire brothers bought up all the silver on the COMEX, turned it into physical. Of course, that would have exposed the corruption. So what did the government do? They banned silver on the spot. It was called Silver Rule 7. That was the law. You could not buy silver. You had to trade it. They banned silver. You had to trade it. You had to sell it, I guess. But you had to sell it back to the Fed. But things are much different now. Much different now. Would anything like that in today's day and age still be a possibility? Or would the government still be able to push a law on the spot like Silver Rule 7? I don't think so. Silver is much more needed in today's day and age than in 1980. So for one to think that manipulation is a reality to a degree of, let's say, the next few years, is going to be completely misguided, not understanding the type of deficit we're in when you incorporate military and aerospace, which, by the way, they go into right here. It's military and aerospace. If we were just talking about solar panels and EVs, yes, it would eventually still happen, but the amount of silver we need in military and aerospace trumps solar alone, which on paper, solar is the biggest sector. But Slayer, you just said military and aerospace is the biggest sector. Yeah, but that's not on paper. The Silver Institute doesn't incorporate military and aerospace on their demand. So if we see a demand of 1.2 billion ounces, it's actually much, much, much higher than that. So if we see a record breaking supply deficit the last 4 years alone, 770 million ounce deficit in the last 4 years, it's well above those types of numbers we can't even fathom. So to think that any type of suppression or Western suppression will be able to combat something like that as valuable as silver, with gold, sure. With anything else, sure, but not silver. If you see what I'm saying. So let's keep moving on. Paradoxically, prices remain artificially suppressed due to excessive short selling and manipulation in the futures markets. This disconnect between paper trades and physical reality has led to a dangerous undervaluation of silver, promoting wasteful and irresponsible use of this critical metal. Consider this. On any given day, traders can exchange contracts representing an entire year's worth of global silver mining production. This creates an illusion of abundance, when in fact silver supplies are dwindling rapidly. There's not that much silver out there. The paper to physical ratio has reached absurd levels, with some estimating suggesting over 500 paper ounces traded for every physical ounce that exists. What do you mean by that, Slayer? That means that every ounce of physical silver you hold in your hand, up to 500 other people on the COMEX or somewhere think they own that same ounce. And they think they do. They think it's in a vault somewhere. So they think if they were to trade into physical, their ounces are somewhere stored. But they're not. It's not. But nobody ever, nobody ever pushes their contracts into physical. So that's why this facade can go on. But if everyone did, or even a small portion did, it would collapse the COMEX. And that's what a short squeeze is. They're trying to turn all this in, kind of like what the Hunt brothers did. That would expose the market. This artificial cheapness has real-world impacts. Take military applications where thousands of ounces of silver are used in each torpedo, up to 11,000 ounces in some torpedoes, 500 ounces in Tomahawk missiles. And these torpedoes and missiles are blown into oblivion, not to be recycled. Or consider the aerospace industry, which relies on silver zinc batteries for satellites and space stations, because the silver performs flawlessly in the extreme temperatures of outer space, from negative 148 degrees Fahrenheit to 248 degrees Fahrenheit. Under the sea, silver's moisture resistance makes it ideal for submarine batteries, where lithium would be too dangerous. So, meanwhile, industrial demand for silver is skyrocketing. Samsung's new solid-state battery uses silver. Solar industry's hunger for silver grows exponentially each year due to its unmatched conductivity and reflectivity. Even as applications multiply, there have been no significant new silver discoveries in years. And this is what I'm talking about when we say that silver is inevitably going to become extinct. And this isn't a theory. People who say there's plenty of above ground silver stockpiles aren't looking at a few different things. One, they don't understand the real numbers of not, we call it the scammy Silver Institute. They're looking at numbers from the Silver Institute. They're not incorporating military or aerospace. They're not really thinking about silver's byproduct, or how silver is basically found by accident. And since silver is used industrially, it's not recycled and remelted and rescrapped at the rate that gold is. Gold is remelted. I mean, because gold's used for coins and jewelries and bars, so it's remelted into more coins, jewelry, and bars. Silver's thrown away in landfills, never to be recycled. Plus, it's a byproduct. Plus, it came here from meteors and comets and asteroids, so there's only so much silver left. And it's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity, so you cannot replace it. It's irreplaceable. So, if you look at it that way, we are in a situation, a predicament. And finally, big tech is realizing this. Imagine someone like Elon having to cut back the amount of Teslas because he can't find enough silver, or iPhone, or anywhere, saying that, we have to halt production. Or a lot of these companies, if they don't have a direct source soon, they'll be out of business. Or if they are willing to pay, let's say, a couple $100 silver when right now it's 34, imagine their cost of production going up. Right? If they could find it at all. The challenging or the challenges of bringing new silver to market are staggering. It takes an average of 20 years to develop a silver deposit into a producing mine. For every 2,000 silver discoveries, only 1 or 2 become operational. And of those, 20 to 30% will lose money and shut down. Most silver is produced as a byproduct, which I was just saying, by other metal mining, further complicating supply. So why does this reckless short selling persist? Follow the money. Many industrialists who benefit from cheap silver occupy positions on bank boards and directors. By manipulating prices downwards, they maximize profits while draining a critical nature resource. And it's funny because silver is not even on the critical minerals list for the US or Canada. But why? All these other elements that I've never even heard of are on there, but not silver when it's the most important and the most scarce. It's like they did that on purpose. It's akin to telling your children energy is free and plentiful. They'd leave every light on in the house. The consequences of this scheme are far-reaching. The U.S. is now 79% import reliant on silver, a strategic vulnerability. As supplies tighten, industries depend or are dependent on silver, which may face severe disruptions. And the environment pays a price, as artificially low costs encourage wasteful practices. It's time to shine a light on the silver scheme. Regulators must crack down on excessive short selling and bring transparency to the paper silver markets. Researchers project that rapidly growing AI industry could generate e-waste equivalent to over 10 billion iPhones soon. The study focuses on e-waste. It highlights the massive computing requirements of AI models. This suggests significant energy consumption in the latest sector to devour silver. Moreover, the AI industry's expansion leads to increased server deployment and frequent hardware upgrades to meet computational demands and miles of silver connector circuits, etc. at all. And think about this. There's going to be new discoveries, right? Like Samsung's new battery charges a Tesla in like 9 seconds. But also think about AI chips, or think about like the solar panels, the new solar panels. There's panels on both sides of the panel now, because in places like deserts where there's light reflecting off the sand, the solar panel on the bottom of it could also generate energy. So now solar panels are using twice as much silver. Think about this stuff. True price discovery is essential to promote responsible use of this irreplaceable metal. The future of technology, renewable energy, and national security may depend on it. So the silver squeeze is real and the clock is ticking. So, I really do think that this is something that most people will know when it's too late. So the United States is facing a dire debt crisis, with interest payments on its $36 trillion debt now representing the largest and fastest growing item in the Federal Reserve's budget. As interest rates compound, its financial burden is escalating exponentially, threatening the nation's economic stability and future. A potential solution to this crisis lies in significantly revaluing gold, which would consequently impact silver prices. Using basic monetary calculations, a 100% gold-backed money supply would require a gold price of $80,270, while a 50% backing would necessitate a $40,135 per ounce. And applying today's gold to silver ratio at 80-1, that's gold's price of $40,000, we arrive at silver $500. This dramatic increase precious metal valuations could provide a path to addressing the debt crisis, restoring fiscal health to the U.S. economy. So yeah, that's where we're at. I really like that article. It really does kind of break down the why. Like I was talking to Andy Sheckman on his podcast. He does his own podcast on Miles Franklin, and I was a special guest the other day. And this is what we were talking about. But even more so, when the BRICS announced their new precious metals exchange, that's when they would revalue gold or silver and silver, right? Let the Western suppression do their thing while they can, pile it up for basically free. But then when they open their exchange, revalue gold at its fair price. And that is when things could happen. Why revalue it now without their own exchange? Wait for the exchange, then revalue it to its actual price. Let the Western suppression play themselves, except for the ones like us that actually understand the suppression and understand what we are doing. Most don't, though, and that is exactly what's happening. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you stick around. I'm going to post more videos. I think I'm going to start posting more videos, like at least once a day. Maybe do some live streams, more podcasts coming soon as well. So make sure you subscribe. You cannot be blindly investing. If you wanted to buy some silver from me or gold or platinum, hit me up, Slayer at milesfranklin.com, or call 330-485-6172, and I will make sure you're taken care of. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.